Rumpelstiltskin. There he is. One day, a poor man took his daughter to see the king. "My daughter can spin straw into gold," said the poor man. The king, the poor man, and the daughter. The king took the girl to a room full of straw. "You must spin the straw into gold," the king said. The girl began to cry. "I cannot do this," she said. A funny little man came into the room. "If you give me your necklace, I will help you," said the man. "Yes," said the girl, "I will give you my necklace." The funny little man and the girl and her necklace. The next day, the room was full of gold. So the king gives the girl more straw to spin into gold. The funny little man came into the room. "If you give me a ring, I will help you," said the funny little man. "Yes," said the girl, "I will give you my ring." Here he is, the funny little man and the man with her precious ring. The next day, the room was full of gold. The king gives the girl more straw. "If you can spin this straw into gold," he said, "you will be my queen." Oh my. The funny little man came into the room. "If you give me your first child, I will help you," said the funny little man. "Yes," said the girl, "I will give you my first child." There she is, and the funny little man. The next day, the room was full of gold. Wow! The king married the girl. Soon, they had a child. Wedding day, the bride is the queen and the king. The funny little man came to see the queen. "If you cannot guess my name," said the man, "you must give me your child." The queen began to cry. The queen sent her men to find every name they could, but she could not guess the name of the funny little man. Then one man saw the funny little man singing, "The queen will never win my game, for Rumpelstiltskin is my name." The man went to tell the queen. The next day, the queen said to the funny little man, "Is your name Rumpelstiltskin?" And the funny little man was so cross. He ran away and was never seen again. Very cross. Stomp his feet. The king and the queen. The end. Story is about treehouse rescue. Peter Rabbit. One day, Peter Rabbit was playing with Lily and Benjamin. "What's that sound?" said Peter. "This is Peter Rabbit, Lily the girl, and Benjamin." "It's Mr. Todd," said Benjamin. Mr. Todd wanted to make the rabbits into a pie. "Uh-oh!" "Run," said Peter. "That is Mr. Todd. He is a wolf. Then we need to run." The rabbits ran and ran. "We have to hide," said Lily. "Look at the squirrels flying up in the trees," said Peter. "We could hide up there." "Here's Peter. Here are the squirrels." The rabbits called up to Squirrel Nutkin. "Help! We want to hide. Could we make a tree house up there?" "In our trees?" said the Squirrel Nutkin. "You have to pass our squirrel test first." "Here's Squirrel." "First, you have to climb the shaky tree," said Squirrel Nutkin. So Benjamin climbed the shaky tree. "Hooray!" called Peter and Lily. "There is Benjamin." Peter, Lily, and the squirrel. "Now you have to cross the web of terror," said Squirrel Nutkin. So Lily crossed the web of terror. "Hooray!" called Peter and Benjamin. Here's Lily, the squirrel. Peter and Benjamin. "Now you have to cross the great big gap," said Squirrel Nutkin. So Peter took one big jump. Whee! Here is Peter. But the gap was just too big. Poor Peter. The squirrels pulled him up. "We didn't pass the squirrel test," said Benjamin. Just then, there was a sound. Screech, screech. "What's that sound?" said Peter. The rabbits could see a big owl. "Look, the owl was going after Squirrel Nutkin," said Peter. "We have to help." The big owl, the squirrel. Oh no. "We have to cross the great big gap," said Peter. Benjamin and Peter took Nutkin and whee! They crossed the great big gap. Wow! "Hooray!" called the squirrels. "You did pass the squirrel test," said Squirrel Nutkin. So the rabbits did get a tree house to hide in, and Mr. Todd did not get to make the rabbits into a pie. The end. Storm Castle. Nadim's mom and dad had to go away, so Nadim came to stay at Beef and Chief's house. Nadim had a bag with all his things, but he had a big box too. "What's in that big box?" asked Chip. "Wait and see," said Needham. There. This is Chip and Beef, and this is Needham. The children went to Beef's room. Needham had a big box. He opened it and took out his computer. "Brilliant," said Chip. "I've got some new computer games," said Needham. "But we can play with them later. I've got something else to play with." That's him. His computer. That's the CPU. Needham had some robots. "These are great," said Kippa. "I'm going to get one like this. It's my favorite." Beef and Chip had a robot too. They want to fidget. "We are going to have a great time," said Needham. There they are. Needham, rabbits, and Kippa. That's Kippa. Wilf came to play. He had one of his new toys. It was a spacecraft. Beef, Wilf, and Kippa played with all the toys Kippa said. With all the toys. Kippa said he wanted to be a robot when he grew up. "You can't," said Beef. "People can't be rabbits." There. Chip and Needham played on the computer. One of Needham's new games was called Storm Castle. It looked exciting. "It's quite hard," said Needham. "I'll show you how to play. Then you can have a go." "It looks great," said Chip. Storm Castle. Needham and Chip. Everyone watched Needham play Storm Castle. "You have to go through all the rooms," he said. "But there is a danger in every room. Look, in the first room, the floor opened. You could fall through, but Needham didn't." "That was clever," said Chip. Needham was good on the computer. He got through all the rooms safely. "Chip can have a go next," said Needham. "You can all have a go if you like." "You are brilliant at it," said Chip. "I won't be very good when I have my go." There. Suddenly, the magic key began to glow. "Oh no," said Beef. "I don't want the key to glow. I don't want a magic adventure. I want to play on Needham's computer." "I don't want the magic adventure either," said Chip. "I think I know where it will be. Here's the magic key." "Where do you think it will be?" asked Kippa. "Storm Castle," said Chip. "Oh no," said Wolf. "I don't think we're going to like this adventure. Storm Castle is full of dangers." "It's a good job Needham is with us," said Beef. So there they are, fall into that magic adventure. The magic didn't take them inside the castle. It took them to a desert. Storm Castle was in front of them. "Why didn't the magic take us inside the castle?" said Wolf. "And there is Needham?" asked Chip. The castle. "Oh no, giant rabbits," said Wolf. "Run for it." The children ran as fast as they could. The rabbits were not very fast, but there were lots of them. "Well, we will have to get into Storm Castle," said Beef. "Come on." There they are, the rabbits. The children saw a bridge. It was the only way to the castle. "This is the way in," said Wolf. "The robots can't get across this." "I hope it's safe," said Chief. "It's a long way to fall." Robots chasing them, and the bridge to the castle. Suddenly, the bridge began to open in the middle. "Jump for it," said Chip. "If it opens too much, you won't get across." Beef and Kipper ran as fast as they could. Then they jumped across. Uh-oh. Ralph was still on the other side. The gap was getting wider and wider. "Come on, Ralph," called Beef. "You can do it. Run as fast as you can and jump. We will grab you." Ralph ran and jumped. "Hooray! He's made it! He made it!" shouted Kipper. Oops. The gate of the castle was closing. It was getting lower and lower. The children ran as fast as they could. Chip ran to the gate and rolled under it. "Come on," he shouted. "We don't want to be shut out of the castle." There they are. They get under the gate just in time. Then it shut with a loud clang. Beef didn't like the adventure much. It was hard work. "It's not fair," she said. "This is Nadem's adventure, and he is not even here." There they are. The children came to the 3 doors. They didn't know which one to open. "I think we should go through this one," said Wilf. "It looks like a keyhole." He pushed the door and it began to open. "Come on, let's go through," he said. The door shut and they found themselves in a room full of mirrors. Each mirror made them look a funny shape. In one mirror, they looked fat and round. In another, they looked long and thin. In another, they had funny shaped heads. Like that. Oh no. The mirrors made them look so funny that they all laughed and laughed. "I've got an enormous head and a little thin body," laughed Ralph. "I hope we don't go on looking like this," said she. "Think what Mom and Dad would say." Look. Huh? Kipper looked in one mirror, but he couldn't see anything. "That's funny," he said. "Come on, look at this mirror, everyone." "It doesn't work." "It isn't a mirror," laughed Chip. "It's a doorway." In the doorway was a monster. Beef, Chip, and Ralph were frightened. They ran away. But Kipper didn't. He wasn't frightened at all. He had always wanted to have an adventure with a monster in it, and his monster didn't look very frightening. There. Ran away. The monster tried to frighten Kipper. It jumped up and down and yelled, "Arr! Arr!" Kipper yelled back. "Aren't you frightened?" asked the monster. "Not at all," said Kipper. "I've always wanted to meet a monster like you." "Good, brave Kipper." The monster was friendly. He told the children that they had to go through a maze. "What's maze?" asked Kipper. The monster showed them a map of the maze. He showed them how to go through it. "Don't get lost," said the monster. That's the monster in the maze. Don't get lost. The children went into the maze. Soon they came to a dead end. "I think we went wrong at the last turning," said Beef. "We will have to go back." Ralph remembered the monster's map. "I think I know which way to go," he said. "Follow me." There they are. And dead end, turn back and try again. The children came to a hole with squares on the floor. Some of the squares had numbers on them. There was a doorway at the end of the hole, but it was high up in the wall. "How do we get up to that door?" asked Kipper. "I wish Nadem was here," said Beef. "He would know." The children, the numbers, and the door. The children had to cross the numbers and stand on an empty square. The right one would take them up to the door. The wrong one would drop them through the floor. "How do we know the right square?" asked Chip. Suddenly, Beef said, "I know which one it is it." "Oh, which one?" Beef began to cross the floor. "It's this way," she said. "This way the squares add up to 6. "I don't get that," said Chip. "How do you know this way leads to the right square?" "All the rest adds up to 15, said Beef. "I still don't get that," said Chip. Beef was right. The square lifted the children up to the door in the wall. Chip looked at the floor. "I see," he said. "All the squares add up to 15, whichever way you cross them. Only one way adds up to 6. Mind you don't fall," said Beef. There. They came to a new room. A nasty-looking rabbit began to come towards them. "Help!" called Kipper. "It's going to get us." The rabbit came closer. "That's funny," said Chip. "It's just like one of Nadem's toys." Suddenly, Chip began to laugh. "I'm not frightened of this rabbit," he said. "Come on, everyone," he called. "Help me to push." He ran up to the rabbit and gave it a push. The others helped. The top of the rabbit began to wobble. "Look who's inside!" shouted Kipper. Nadem was sitting inside the rabbit. "That was clever of you, Chip," he said. "How did you know I was inside here?" "Because you wrote a story about this robot at school," said Chip. "Well done, Chip," said everyone. The magic key glowed and the adventure was over. Nadem was sorry. "It was fun being the master of Storm Castle," he said. "We had to go through the castle and you didn't," said Beef. "You can put your computer away and we will have a game of football." The end. Key trouble. Oh, he has a trouble with a key. Gran had come to stay. She had presents for the children. She had brought each of them a super squirter. "Oh no!" groaned Dad. "A super squirter? That's brilliant," said Chip. "Thank you, Gran." The children went outside to play with the super squirters. "Wait for me," called Gran. Dad and Mom watched them. Just look at Gran, sighed Dad. It's like having a naughty girl to stay. Gran had a surprise for Mom and Dad. She had some photograph albums. What are these? Asked Dad. Old photographs, said Gran. I thought you might like them. Old photographs of what? Asked Dad. That's Daddy, Granny, and a photograph. Some of the photographs were of Mom when she was a little girl. Look at Mom, said Beef. She was quite pretty when she was little. And look at Gran, said Chip. She was quite young once upon a time. Beef and Chip went out to play. Gran showed Kipa some more photographs. Here I am when I was a little girl, said Gran. Why is everything gray colored? Asked Kipa. Was it all like that in those days? No, laughed Gran. Only the photographs. Kipa put the television on. There was an old film about two men moving a piano. That's funny, he thought. They are gray colored too. They are just like Gran's old photographs. The men made Kipa laugh. At last, Kipa turned off the television. He went to find Beef, but she wasn't in her room. Then Kipa saw that the magic key was glowing. Oh no, he thought. I'm all by myself. Oh no. The magic took Kipa into a strange gray world. Everything is gray, thought Kipa. This is just like the film I saw on television. Two men were trying to move a piano. They didn't see Kipa. There is no color, said Kipa. I don't like all this gray. I want to go back home. This is a silly adventure. He banged the key on the wall. Take me back, he said crossly, or put some color in this adventure. The men were still pushing the piano. They had to get it through a door. Come and help us, they called. Kipa didn't want to, but he went across to help. We have to take the piano outside, said the big man. Then we have to lift it down some steps, said the little man. Now we will take the back. Take the back, said the big man. And you take the front, said the little man. All right, said Kipa. He squeezed past the piano and got ready to help. When I call pull, you pull, said the big man. Pull, he shouted. Kipa tried to pull the piano. Suddenly, it shot forward and slid down the steps. Kipa grabbed the top and jumped on. He's now riding on the piano. So funny. The piano ran down the street. It went faster and faster. Kipa hung onto the top. Now look what you've done, shouted the big man to the little man. It's not my fault, said the little man. I told you not to push so hard, said the big man. Now Kipa is riding. Suddenly, the piano came to a stop. It crashed into a hedge. Kipa flew over the hedge and landed in a soft garden chair. Hey, shouted the big man. Look what you've done to our piano. Kipa was crossed. This is a silly adventure, he shouted. I hate it. He took the magic key out of his pocket and banged it again. I don't like you, he yelled. I want to go home. Suddenly, the magic key began to glow. The magic took Kippa home. Kippa was pleased the adventure was over. But the adventure was not over. Something had gone wrong. Kippa was a gray color. He looked like an old photograph of himself. Kippa did not notice this. He put down the magic key and went to find Beef and Chip. They were in the garden with Gran. They all gasped when they saw Kippa. "Oh," said Beef, "something's gone wrong. You look gray like an old photograph." At that moment, Mom and Dad came out of the house. "This is terrible," said Chip. "Do something to stop them, Gran. They must not see Kippa." "Leave it to me," said Gran. "You take Kippa inside." Gran picked up a super scooter. She ran towards Mom and Dad. "Gran," shouted Mom, "don't you dare! We are not in the mood for this." "But I am," laughed Gran. She began to squirt Mom with water. Gran chased Mom and Dad around the garden. Beef and Chip grabbed Kippa by the arms and took him inside. "Good old Gran," said Beef. "Now let's get Kippa upstairs." "Ouch, stop it! What's wrong?" cried Kippa. Kippa looked at himself in the mirror. "It's the key," he said. "I didn't want to go on an adventure, and the magic has gone wrong. What are we going to do?" asked Beef. Kippa began to cry. "I don't want to look like an old photograph," he moaned. Gran came upstairs. "Mom and Dad are not too pleased with me, but I've made them a cup of tea," she said. "You were great," said Chip. "But what can we do?" asked Beef. "We can't let Mom and Dad find out about the magic key." Chip had an idea. "Kippa's clothes look gray," he said. "Get him to change these clothes." Kippa went to his room. He put on a red top. "Oh no," said Chip. "Your top's turning gray. You still look like an old photograph." Just then they heard Dad coming upstairs. "Do something," hissed Beef. "You must not let Dad see Kippa." Gran grabbed some sheets-covered beds from the beds. "Pretend you are playing spooks," she said. "It's dinner time in 10 minutes, said Dad. Dad went back downstairs. He looked cross. "Oh dear," said Mom. "What's the matter?" "It's Gran," said Dad. "Now, what's she up to?" asked Mom. "Playing spooks," said Dad. "Whatever will she get up to next?" It was time for dinner, and the children came downstairs. "Have you washed your hands?" asked Dad. "And where's Kippa?" asked Mom. "Well," said Beef, "we have made a little surprise for you." Kippa came into the room. Mom and Dad looked at him. "Oh, Kippa," gasped Mom. "Oh, goodness me," said Dad. "Is this your idea of a joke?" "You look so different," said Mom. "What do you think?" said Beef. "Gran has made him look like a man in an old film." "We love it when Gran comes to stay," said Chip. "Isn't she clever?" Yes," said Dad. Mom frowned at Kippa. "Your mouth is a funny color," she said. "Show me your tongue." "Oh no," whispered Chip. "His tongue is gray." Kippy put out his tongue. Oh dear, said Mom. Look at your great tongue. You must be ill. I'm calling the doctor. After dinner, Mom sent Kippy upstairs. Put on your proper clothes, she said. The doctor can see you in half an hour. Oh no, said Beef. No, Mom and Dad will find out about the magic key. Do something, Gran. I don't know what to do, said Gran. Kippy went upstairs. Beef and Chief went with him. Kipper picked up the magic key. I'm sorry, said Kipper. I didn't mean to be nasty to the key. The key gave a little tiny glow. At that moment, all Kipper's color came back. I'm glad I didn't have to go to the doctor, said Kipper. The magic worked just in time. I think it was always going to, said Beef. You mean it wouldn't have let Mom and Dad find out, said Chief. I don't think it would, said Beef. Do you? The end.